Our top headlines. April marks Autism Awareness Month. We take a look at the response to the Trump arraignment. And Disney announces the live remake of Moana.
Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, April 5th. I'm Cassie Nichols. Our top story, the federal government is compensating Indigenous families of children who were removed from their homes. This settlement has been ongoing for over a year and started in March of 2022. This includes anyone from the Indigenous community who was removed from their home between April 1st, 1991 and March 31st of last year. This settlement has been revised and is almost $3 billion more, increasing to $23 billion. The Assembly of First Nations and the First Nations Child and Family Caring Society has been working with the class members to ensure that they are getting what they believe would be fair compensation for the victims. This comes following the two class action lawsuits that initiated the settlement in December of 2021. The proposal stated they would be paying First Nations children, parents, and caregivers impacted $40,000 in a $40 billion package to all. The AFN Regional Chief Cindy Woodhouse said that money would not change anything that has happened. In the best possible agreement, this would be to compensate the children and families harmed. The Toronto Police Hold-Up Squad has finished their 5-month-long investigation. 6 men have been arrested. Police alleged that they committed these crimes to 23 pharmacies, 7 carjackings, 2 currency exchange place robberies, and 2 car thefts. On March 30th, police took Amir Ayet of Brampton, Shiaz Ejaz of Brampton, Mohammed Habib of Toronto, and Kazar Amzada of Toronto into custody. The Toronto police also made 2 arrests in January of others said to be involved.
With the arrest of these individuals, we have definitely made Toronto safer. This is alleged to be a very violent group of individuals who ply their trade in many areas: carjackings, car thefts, pharmacy robberies, and money exchange establishments. I quite easily can say that with these individuals being arrested, we've definitely put a dent, and it's a bonus in the way of public safety.
This collaborative multi-jurisdictional investigation was also assisted by Peel, York, and Halton regions. Along with the Ontario Provincial Police, key fobs were recovered along with 7 of the 9 vehicles. Inspector Rich Harris says that normally these vehicles would not be here and that they are lucky they had not been shipped out. Police say that they are working with pharmacies to ensure that they have proper safety features like time-delayed safes and good surveillance technology to protect their businesses. Harris also says that these are earmarks of organized crime groups, and even though they have been arrested, he is extremely concerned and people still should be taking precautions. A shooting in North York parking lot has left 2 men in hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Toronto police say that they were called to a scene of a shooting at Yonge Street and Westwood Drive just before 2 a.m. this morning. A 19-year-old man who was allegedly beaten and dumped from a truck of a car last month has been identified by Toronto police. They say that they responded to a call in Etobicoke on March 5th where they found the man unconscious on the sidewalk. The man is in hospital in critical condition and has been unable to communicate with the police. They say that no further information will be released in order to protect the victim. It is Pride Week at Sheridan. Celebrate the week by taking part in a number of events being hosted on campus this week. Students can visit the SSU website to register for Pride Bingo. The event will be held on all 3 Sheridan campuses tonight starting at 7 p.m. The Trafalgar campus will be hosting a coffee talk game night in the coffee lot tomorrow night from 4 p.m. to 6:30. Heralding the end of winter, April is also celebrated as World Autism Awareness Month. Sheridan's Face It Club is holding an event on the HMC campus tomorrow to raise awareness about autism. The Met owner has more about the autism and the event.
Autism is a lifelong neurodevelopmental disorder that affects the way of a person communicates and relates to people and the world around them. According to Public Health Agency of Canada, 1 in 66 children have been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder in Canada. One of these children is the 11-year-old son of Janet McLaughlin, who is a professor at Laurier University.
Autism is such a diverse and unique condition. In my own words, I would think about it through my son's eyes and what I see in him. And those are the challenges of communicating, both verbally and non-verbally, the challenges socially, making friends, and also repetitive interests and movements.
I think one of the misconceptions is that autistic people don't care about social relationships, and that's not true. Most autistic people very much want to have friends, just like typical people do. I think that unfortunately the autistic style of communication can come off as rude sometimes when, for the most part, autistic individuals, I think, are just a bit more honest and forthcoming with their thoughts, but that they don't mean to be rude or hurt anyone's feelings.
Sheridan Face It Club is holding an event tomorrow at HMC campus to raise awareness about autism.
We welcome all students from all campuses to join us tomorrow at World Autism Acceptance Day or Awareness Day. We would love to see all the faces, the different faces that Sheridan College has.
Maddie Deaver is an autistic adult and parent of 5 kids, which 4 of also autistic. Maddie spends a significant amount of his time advocating for the rights of people with autism.
We seek connections, but we also, many of us, really enjoy our solitude. So, invite us, and we may attend, and if we attend, we may not fully participate, but we're there.
They will be there. If you want to be there too, join the Face It Club Autism Awareness event tomorrow. For Sheridan Sun, I am Mehmet Onur.
Now let's take a look outside and get some updates on our weather today. Paulina?
Thanks, Cassie. Just earlier this afternoon, a heavy 20-minute thunderstorm hit Oakville, and Trafalgar Road was flooded within minutes, with winds coming at 18 kilometers per hour. More weather alerts keep coming through today, so best to keep an eye open. As of right now, we're looking at a cloudy day with roughly about 10 to 20 millimeters of rain, with a high of 18 and a low of 6. But right now it just feels like -2. There's wind just east of us coming at 30 kilometers per hour, but expected to pick up to 50 later this evening. Thunderstorms still at risk, but they're expected to be finished up by tomorrow morning, just on time for a clear and windy 7-degree day. Now back to you, Cassie.
Earlier today, representatives from the Ontario Autism Coalition and the NDP held a conference to discuss changes made to the Legacy Autism Program in Ontario. These will see nearly 4,000 children who receive therapy under the program to be transitioned into schools. Some of these children will be entering school for the first time. According to NDP MPP Chandra Pasma, the new program prioritizes the safety of these kids and funds schools. The Ontario government has announced that they will be giving $6.5 million to appoint 40 new adjudicators and 5 back office staff to help with the backlogs within the Landlord-Tenant Board. While the government says they are making progress, they say it is not fast enough to keep up with the ongoing disputes and reports that they are being filed. The Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Steve Clark, says that they are on par with building 1.5 million new homes by 2030 to keep up with Ontario's housing needs. Tenants' rights will also be expanded, allowing for air conditioning units to be installed in renter properties and strengthening eviction restrictions due to renovations. The Ontario government is adding more tests midwives can order and perform. This is to increase community care options and ease healthcare system pressures. Although midwives are pleased with the decision, they say government orders are stopping them from practicing within their full scope. Health Minister Sylvia Jones says she is delighted that the ministry has begun to work and advance a proposal which aims to expand midwives' authority to order additional lab testing and perform certain point-of-care tests. Students and staff at Carleton University are stressed after contract faculty, teaching assistants, and research assistants went on strike March 27th. The faculty say their reason for striking is due to their low pay. The strike has caused some concern among the students, as the strike has caused some class cancellations. Many students need their grades and class registration to get full funding for scholarship. Currently, Carleton has announced it's reached a tentative agreement, but the contract is not yet approved. Time for a quick break. When we come back, take a look at the national news and what scientists are calling a signal from the stars and what that means for us. This morning, police in downtown Montreal responded to a 911 call around 4:20 a.m. on Guy Street near the intersection of René Levesque Boulevard West after an arson attack caused a building to burn. According to Montreal police, nobody was injured. Firefighters found what is believed to be an object in the rubble. Montreal's arson unit is investigating and no arrests have been made. A security perimeter has been set up which could affect morning traffic in the downtown area. The discovery of the body of a 33-year-old First Nation woman has Indigenous advocates asking for searches to be conducted at a Winnipeg area landfill. Several remains of Indigenous women have been found at Brady Road and Prairie Green landfill over the last year. The federal government is currently conducting a study of Prairie Green to determine if search and recovery efforts are possible. The federal government is being urged to speed up the repatriation of a Quebec mother and her 6 children that are being held in a Syrian prison camp. The family's lawyer says the children will return to Canada on a flight with at least 7 other kids, but because their mother's security assessment hasn't been finished, she won't be able to come with them. At least 19 Canadian citizens are being held and are believed to have ties to ISIS. Our Food Analytics Lab is reporting an estimated 30% of Canadians now think inflation and price increases are the main reason food prices have hit an all-time high. Director Sylvian Charlebois says consumers certainly are important for the food industry and a lot has decreased in the recent months. Charlebois also says grocers have a lot to work on due to regaining the trust of the public. However, retailers are denying any allegations of price gouging. The 38-year-old man is appearing back in court today after driving into a group of pedestrians last month. According to police, Steve Gagnon is allegedly charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 9 counts of attempted murder. A third victim has also died since Gagnon's initial court appearance, and the prosecutor had indicated more charges would be filed. 4 children have been killed and 5 wounded after a man broke into a daycare center in Brazil. The man, armed with a hatchet, jumped over a wall and invaded the daycare in Blumenau, southern Brazil. He later turned himself into police. Investigators say the man has no ties to the center and they are searching for a motive. A 30-day mourning period has been declared in the city. Following his arraignment yesterday, Donald Trump went back to his residence in Mar-a-Lago, Florida, where he spoke to supporters last night. Kristen Holmes has more on what he had to say.
I spoke to a source who was with former President Trump last night who said that he surrounded himself with some of his closest allies, advisors, some of his family members, lawmakers on Capitol Hill, and some of his greatest admirers who are Mar-a-Lago club members. And this came after a day in which sources close to him said that he was, quote, upset. They called the process an emotional one, and they said that he wanted to surround himself by people who essentially adore him. And we saw some of that level of upset in his uncharacteristically short speech that he gave after his arraignment. He went after not only the New York case, talking about the district attorney, slamming the judge in the case, but he talked about the multiple investigations into him. Take a listen.
We got a local racist Democrat district attorney in Atlanta who is doing everything in her power to indict me over an absolutely perfect phone call. This fake case was brought only to interfere with the upcoming 2024 election, and it should be dropped immediately. This lunatic special prosecutor named Jack Smith, I wonder what it was prior to a change, who others of his ilk say he's even worse than they are, is only looking at Trump, yet Joe Biden took massive amounts more documents.
And as you can see there's not a lot of substance into what the cases actually were. It was a lot of attacks on the prosecutors or the special counsel. But as we have noted time and time again, they are looking to make this a fight in the 2024 election campaign. They have already started fundraising off of T-shirts with a manufactured mugshot of the former president on them. They brought their own videographer to get behind-the-scenes footage to use later in campaign ads and videos. So they are clearly trying to make this a political issue, talking about 2024. And of course, that's something that we continue to hear former President Trump say, that this is something that they only did because he was running for president. Back to you.
Peter Murrell, the husband of former Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, has been arrested. Murrell was taken into custody this morning for questioning related to an investigation of the Scottish National Party's finances. Police have also begun a search of the couple's home in Glasgow. Police launched their investigation 18 months ago when questions were raised about how funds donated to the party were used. Pharmaceutical company Johnson & Johnson will pay $8.9 billion to settle lawsuits related to allegations that talcum powder in their products cause cancer. While the company hasn't confirmed the allegations, a spokesperson says fighting the lawsuits in court would take too long and cost too much. This amount is nearly 4 times Johnson & Johnson's initial offer of $2 billion. Israeli police have raided the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, one of Jerusalem's holiest sites, during Ramadan prayer earlier this morning. They have arrested an estimated 350 Palestinians. People all over the world are strongly condemning the move. CNN's Hadass Gold has more.
Israeli police stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem early Wednesday, where Palestinians worship during the holy month of Ramadan. Video put out by the Israeli police shows officers entering the mosque by force as fireworks are launched at them. Videos on social media appear to show officers striking people with batons. Eyewitnesses telling CNN police also fired stun grenades and rubber bullets. The police said in a statement that they went in because hundreds of what they called rioters and mosque desecrators barricaded themselves inside in a violent manner and, quote, threw fireworks, hurled stones, and caused damage. The authorities arrested more than 300 people during the incident. The Palestinian Red Crescent saying at least 24 Palestinians were injured. Israeli police say 2 of their officers were also wounded. The holy sites behind me are known as the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, or Haram al-Sharif, the third holiest site in Islam. You can actually hear the call to prayer going on right now, but it's also known as Temple Mount to Jews, and it's the holiest site in Judaism. Now, there is a status quo that governs these holy sites, and the Israeli police entering the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is this building right here with the black roof behind me, that is considered a violation of the status quo. And then not only them entering, but then them entering in the way they did, firing stun grenades and rubber bullets, well, that brought it to a whole other level. Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia have denounced Israel for what happened, the Jordanian foreign minister saying the world must clearly condemn the attack. Shortly after the raid, rockets were fired from Gaza into Israel, the militant group Hamas saying Israel's actions in Jerusalem wouldn't go unanswered. The Israeli military said it had struck Hamas weapon sites in Gaza in response. Hadass Gold, CNN, Jerusalem.
Astronomers say they've detected radio signals coming from an Earth-sized planet 12 light-years away from us. Scientists noticed the signals coming from the star YZ Ceti and the exoplanet orbiting it, which is YZ Ceti b. The radio signals suggest the planet may have a magnetic field and its own possible atmosphere. Earth's magnetic field protects our atmosphere, which is needed to support life. Finding atmospheres around planets outside our solar system means there's a chance that the other worlds have the ability to support life. Time now for another quick break. Still ahead, sports and entertainment news, as well as your 5-day forecast. And ex-pop star Danny Fernandez is on the hook for padding his wallet by taking advantage of aspiring musicians. Welcome back. Time now for a look at entertainment sports with Sam Smith. Sam?
Thank you, Cassie. The Italian plumber has dominated the video game market for decades, and now his first animated, big screen appearance is finally here.
We will destroy the Mushroom Kingdom!
Bowser is coming.
I'm not afraid. I'll do anything for my brother.
The Super Mario movie held its first screening in Los Angeles April 1st and will release in theaters later on today. Movies based off video games have carried a notorious track record for either being mediocre or complete cinematic disasters. Hopefully Mario can find his footing and stick the landing on the big screen today. Disney has been known to remake live-action movies from their back catalog as of late, but this next one seems a little too soon for a remake.
Aloha, everyone, from beautiful Hawaii. We are here on the island of Oahu, where I did a lot of my growing up. As you know, Hawaii...
Dwayne Johnson announced on a Monday show that a live-action remake of the film Moana has begun production. Though the cast isn't confirmed and a release date hasn't been given yet, we do know that Dwayne and co-star Auli'i Cravalho will be reprising their respective roles for the upcoming film. The former pop star, Danny Fernandez, has been working with and mentoring many up-and-coming Canadian singers to help jumpstart their music careers. At least that's what he said at the beginning. A CBC investigation uncovered that Danny was taking tens of thousands of dollars from musicians, thinking he was helping their careers and making false promises. Glenn Pretty, one of the singers involved with Danny, had paid over $55,000 within 6 months of recording with him. Danny's lawyer is currently aiming to repay debts that he's owed. San Francisco's legendary drag performer Heklina has unfortunately passed away at the age of 54. Heklina was found in their London hotel room on Monday by co-star Peaches Christ. The two were working on the parody musical called Mommy Queerest, based on Mommy Dearest. Peaches shared that the news on Facebook with their followers and was devastated to not only lose a close friend, but a beloved icon of the LGBT+ community. On a slightly less depressing note, there's been a huge history of Taylor Swift hiding from the public to get to her shows, but this time it was so good that no one saw her till she started singing. A video of 2 crew members wheeling on a janitor cart, quote-unquote, on stage went viral after the pop star walks out from the cart and kicking off her show yesterday. She's been known to play a little hide-and-seek before her shows, from covering her face with shopping bags, umbrellas, or just hiding in her luggage to avoid fans to make it to her show on time. And that's it for our entertainment news for today, and let's take a look at sports now with Sean. Sean?
Thank you, Sam. The Leafs hosted the Blue Jackets last night and came out of Scotiabank Arena with a win.
Watches as it sails wide. Now McCabe with a drop feed. Lafferty with a shot. That's off a leg. Right off Sweezy. Just gets right back on his feet. Quick shot, score!
Sam Lafferty and Zach Aston-Reese led the Leafs with 2 points each. Ken Johnson led the Columbus Blue Jackets with 3 shots on goal and a point. The final score was 4-2 for Toronto. They headed to Boston to play the President's Trophy winning Bruins on Thursday at 7 o'clock on Sportsnet. The Raptors held off the Charlotte Hornets last night 120-100. Pascal Siakam led the game with 22 points and 14 rebounds. 3 games ended up with 20 or more points in the game. Tonight, Toronto heads into their second game of a back-to-back in Boston tonight versus the Celtics, with 3 games left, including another game against the Celtics on Friday and their final game of the home season against the Milwaukee Bucks in Toronto. The Blue Jays beat the Kansas City Royals 4-1 in Game 2 of yesterday's series.
George Springer strolls towards home plate.
Shallow left center field, and it will be caught by Bobby Witt Jr.
2 games remain left in the series, with games happening today and tomorrow. Yesterday marked the first time in a long time that all 3 major Toronto sports teams won on the same day. I know Toronto fans are going to be cherishing that one for a long time. The biggest question in the air for PSG is the future of superstar Lionel Messi. Rumors of his departure at the end of the season have been looming all year long. With reports stronger than ever, FC Barcelona has emerged as reportedly the most engaged team in open as a return to Messi. He is open to returning to his former club and could see his career ending there in future. Inter Milano and Juventus drew a 1-1 score in the first leg of the Coppa Italia yesterday, but that's not the big story. Striker Romelu Lukaku scored a penalty in the 90th minute, and during his celebration, racial chants were immediately being heard from the Juventus crowd. Romelu's management has been outraged after the event, in which Lukaku was sent out of the pitch after getting 2 yellow cards. Inter Milano will play the Champions League quarterfinals next week. The 87th annual Masters Golf Tournament begins tomorrow. It will take place in Georgia at the pristine Augusta Golf Course. 18 players will enter the tournament, with notable names like Rory McIlroy, Scottie Scheffler, and of course, the one, the only Tiger Woods, who won the competition back in 2019. That's all for sports this week. Now onto our 5-day forecast with Paulina. Paulina?
experience a high of 7 and a low of -4. Sunday gives us a mix of options with the sun and clouds with a high of 12 and an evening with cloudy periods and a low of +2. And back to the top of the week, Monday calls for a mix of sun and clouds with 40% chance of showers, high of 15 and a low of 7. Hopefully we get to put our coats back in storage. Back to you, Cassie.
Take a look at these two cute twins. These Sumatran tiger cubs are still a little shy, but they have started to emerge from their dens at the Chester Zoo. The female cubs, named Aleph and Rhea, were born in January. They're part of a conservation breeding program to help the critically endangered species. The zoo says just 350 are left in the wilds of Indonesia. Experts blame their dwindling numbers on habitat loss and poaching. That's all for your Wednesday, April 5th. For the Sheridan Sun, I'm Cassie Nichols. Thank you for watching.